In a peaceful village wrapped in rolling green hills lived a kind farmer named Harold. Every morning Harold grabbed his old wooden basket and strolled into his yard to care for his beloved animals. He visited each one with a warm smile, a gentle word, and a tasty treat. Everyone got something special. Everyone, that is, except one quiet little donkey named Dusty. Dusty was small, soft-furred, and patient. And every day he watched as Harold handed cheerful biscuits to Biscuit, the bouncy golden retriever who barked happily and wagged his tail so fast it became a blur. Then Harold poured warm milk into a tiny bowl for Whiskers, the lazy orange tabby cat who purred and stretched like royalty. Finally, Harold brushed the shiny mane of Copper, the proud chestnut horse, and fed him crispy oatcakes while calling him a champion. But when Harold reached Dusty, there was no smile, no biscuit, no kind word. Instead, Harold pointed at a heavy cart loaded with firewood and said, "Come on, Dusty, get moving. Those logs will not carry themselves." Dusty never complained. He lowered his head, hooked himself into the harness, and started walking. But inside, his heart felt very heavy. The other farm animals noticed everything. Biscuit, Whiskers, and Copper often whispered and giggled when Dusty passed by, dragging his load through the muddy yard. "Poor Dusty," Whiskers yawned one afternoon, stretching on a warm fence post. "Works all day and never gets a treat. Truly sad." "Maybe if he smiled more, the farmer would like him better," Biscuit suggested cheerfully, not realizing how cruel those words sounded. Dusty heard every single word. Night after night he lay alone in the dark barn, staring at the wooden ceiling, wishing someone, anyone, would see something good inside him. One cold morning before the sun rose, Dusty made a decision. He quietly unhooked himself from the cart, slipped through the gate, and walked silently into the thick forest nearby. He did not know where he was going. He only knew he needed a place where nobody would laugh at him. Deep inside the forest, something caught his eye. Lying beneath a pile of dry, golden leaves was the most magnificent skin he had ever seen. It was thick, tawny, and shimmered like sunlight. It was the skin of a great lion, powerful, grand, and majestic. Dusty stared at it for a long moment. Then, carefully, he lifted it and draped it over his entire body. It fit perfectly, covering him from his ears down to his hooves. He stepped toward a calm pond and looked at his reflection. He looked like a lion. News traveled through the forest almost instantly. Animals from every corner came running to see the mighty newcomer. Bears bowed their heads. Eagles circled overhead in respect. Rabbits squeaked with excitement. "A real lion! The king has arrived!" shouted a fox, dropping to his knees. Dusty said nothing. He walked slowly and quietly, keeping his head high and his expression serious. The forest animals loved it. They thought he was mysterious and powerful. Within a few days, they decided to throw a grand celebration in his honor, a spectacular music concert under the stars. That evening, the forest sparkled with glowing fireflies and cheerful music. Dusty sat upon a large mossy rock while every animal in the woods bowed before him. It felt incredible. For the first time in his life, eyes looked at him, not with pity or laughter, but with pure admiration. Then, an old wise owl stood up and spoke gently. "Oh, great king, would you honor us with a royal song tonight?" Dusty froze. A song? He opened his mouth, took a deep breath, and let out the only sound he knew how to make. Hee-haw, hee-haw. The entire forest went completely silent. Then gasps erupted everywhere. The golden skin slipped right off Dusty's back and fell into the dirt. Every animal stared in shock. "That is a donkey!" shouted a deer. Dusty trembled. He looked down at the ground, ashamed and afraid. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I only wanted someone to think I was special. Back on my farm, nobody ever sees me. They only see a donkey who carries heavy things. I just wanted to feel important, even for one night." A long silence filled the air. Then the old owl stepped forward and spoke softly. "Dusty, listen carefully. You do not need a lion's skin to be extraordinary. You carried heavy loads every day without ever complaining. You are strong, honest, and brave. Those are rare qualities. You were already special long before tonight." One by one, the forest animals nodded and smiled warmly. A young bear laughed gently and said, "That was still the funniest and bravest concert we have ever seen." Dusty smiled for the first time in a very long while. The next morning, Dusty walked back toward the farm. This time, he did not shuffle or hang his head low. He walked tall, steady, and proud. When he arrived, Harold was already in the yard. The farmer looked surprised, then his expression softened. "Dusty, where have you been, old friend?" Harold asked quietly. "I just needed time to find myself," Dusty answered in his heart. Harold knelt down and placed his hand gently on Dusty's neck. "I have been unfair to you. You have carried so much more than just heavy loads. You have helped hold this entire farm together, and I never once said thank you. I am truly sorry." From that day forward, everything changed. Harold gave Dusty treats, gentle pats, and kind words every single morning. Biscuit, Whiskers, and Copper apologized sincerely and welcomed Dusty as a true equal. The farm became a place filled with kindness, laughter, and love for everyone. And Dusty learned the most important lesson of his life. You never need to pretend to be someone else. The real you, honest, kind, and patient, is always more than enough.